Your CPC exam day is finally here. After all of that hard work and studying, it is time to put your knowledge to the test. But what exactly should you expect on exam day? Hey there, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator. And on my channel, I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. Today, I'm going to be telling you what happens on your exam day and what to expect when you are sitting for your CPC exam, whether you are taking it at an exam center or you are taking it via the live remote proctor. And I do want to mention that this video is focused for US testers. So if you are located outside the United States, you will have a different sort of process for taking your CPC exam. So this is for if you are taking it at a US exam center or you are located within the United States. And also, I know the AAPC is very strict about this process, and that is to maintain the integrity of just the credential, the coding industry, and all of that section of healthcare and our jobs as well. We want this to be a well-respected credential. So it's important that we have certain strictness so that the integrity of that exam holds water, so that our credentials hold water, and that there aren't any loopholes that would potentially allow people to cheat on the exam. So there is certain processes that we have to go through in order to do that. And I fully appreciate that everyone has different philosophies and different thoughts on this, but I'm not here to tell you that I think this is right or wrong. I'm just relaying to you this is the situation that we have currently for the exam. So let's start out with the exam centers, and I will timestamp this so you can skip over the exam center and go to the live remote proctor section if that's the method that you are using for your exam. First thing I want to say is make sure you know where your exam center is. Google it ahead of time. They will send you in an email the exact address so that you can prepare. Make sure that you know that there might be traffic at certain hours, a certain day. If you're commuting in the morning, for example, it might take a little longer. So it's not a terrible idea to get familiar with where you are driving if that is reasonable for you. I understand that some people, their exam centers are a pretty far drive, but for a lot of people, they have one within an hour or 90 minutes of where they're located and could potentially go and drive that or maybe have driven that area before. But I would recommend trying to get there 10 minutes early. You can arrive a little bit early for your exam. And when I took my exam at the exam center, I showed up a little bit early and they just set me up a little early. They will check your ID. They will go through your books to make sure that you don't have anything in there that you're not supposed to have, like any additional papers. And they're also checking to make sure that you have the right versions of the book if you are using the paper books. And remember that your name on your photo ID has to match the name that's registered for the exam. So what's on your eapc.com account. So for example, my name on my account is Victoria, but if my ID said Vicky, that would be a mismatch and that could potentially put my exam at risk. Now, if you selected to use ebooks, you don't need to bring your own books, but if you do bring the print books, you have your ICD-10-CM, CPT, and HCPCS. ICD-10-CM and HCPCS can be any publisher version that you want. The CPT version has to be the AMA edition. You cannot use the PMIC CPT Plus for the CPC exam. And they have to be either the current calendar year or one calendar year prior. So if you're testing in 2025, you can use 2025 or 2024. You can't use the upcoming calendar years either. So remember that those ICD-10-CM codes, even though they update in October, that exam's not going to change until January. So you wouldn't even want to bring the next year's books because the exam changes calendar year. Every year on January 1 is when the exam changes. If you bring print books, you can highlight in them, you can write in them, you can put tabs in them that are clearly to bookmark a page, but sticky notes or extra loose papers are not permitted. And you also cannot white out huge chunks of the book and then write notes over it. And you're not allowed to bring any kind of electronic devices. So no smartphones, no Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, and no calculators. There is a calculator embedded in the exam platform. I will link below the information on how to watch the videos that show you what the exam platform looks like. If you have a practice exam, you already know because that's what the practice exams, the official ones from the AAPC, they mock the actual exam. So you'll know what that looks like if you've taken a practice exam. If you've not taken those practice exams, there are videos that will show you how to navigate through the platform. Once you're checked in with the exam center, they will set you up in an individual seat. You will have one monitor. It's usually a very large monitor, however, and they will let you spread out with your paper books if you are using the paper books, but it is a quiet setting. You cannot ask questions. You're not supposed to talk. Some of the exam centers, the one I was at, they did allow earplugs. So if you want to put earplugs in that they provide to you, you can, but you're technically not supposed to bring your own. The only thing you can bring is your ID and your books. Most of the exam centers have either lockers or something similar so that you can securely store your valuables. So if you bring your cell phone or your purse or anything else that you found in your pockets and you're not supposed to have, you can securely lock them in. If you have questions about the exam center itself, you can contact the exam center. There should be information in the email that you received after you confirm your exam. So you can contact them about the specifics about the exam center, like things like, oh, how to access the building or anything like that, like how you would secure your valuables. But if you have questions about the exam itself, that is when you contact the AAPC. And you can take bathroom breaks during the exam, but the timer will not stop. So if you need to use the restroom during the exam or go get a drink of water, you can do that at the exam center, but you will have to leave and then be checked in again to make sure that you didn't bring anything new into the exam center when you're taking your exam. It is a great option if you want something that is structured, you know it's going to be the right environment, you don't have to worry about the setup. That is a fantastic option, especially because you will also have that proctor right there on site in case there are any kind of situations or complications with connectivity or anything like that. If you are taking the CPC exam via a live remote proctor, whether you're sitting at home or in a library or in a designated area or a space that you rented, there's some different things you need to understand. First is the technical requirements. You need a computer and you need to have an external webcam. That external webcam should have at least a 6-foot cord because they are going to ask you to move it around to sweep the area so they can screen everything that you have. They want to make sure that you didn't tack any notes underneath your keyboard. They're going to want to make sure that you don't have any extra things plugged in or mirrors or monitors or cameras going, anything like that. You also need secure internet. They suggest having a wired connection. It's not required, but it does make that additional extra level of comfort, I suppose. And you should run a test on the software ahead of time. They will give you some prompts to make sure that everything runs correctly, that you have all the right browser equipment, speed, etc., to be successful for the exam. And here's a big one. You can only use one monitor. So even if you have 2 or 3 or 4 monitors for the exam, they have to be unplugged and disconnected because they're going to be checking all of your different system settings. So you need to make sure that those monitors are unplugged. Your exam space has to be a quiet, private area. You can't have pets roaming by, you can't have people roaming by, and your desk has to have absolutely nothing on it except potentially your books if you're using paper books, and a water bottle that has no labels on it and is clear. You can see through it. Oh, and your ID. That's the other thing you can have on there. Your books, your ID, and the clear water bottle. As far as the other technical requirements with the webcam, they do recommend at least 1080p. It's not that hard to find a half decent webcam these days. I have recommendations that I will link in the video description. I also recommend a tripod only because they want to have it situated in such a way that they can see basically everything you're doing with your keyboard to make sure that you're not Googling things, that you didn't slip anything under your keyboard and that you're pulling it out. They're going to want to see your monitor and just make sure that you're not like looking off in odd directions somewhere during your exam or that there's any kind of odd things happening. It also says you need speakers. You can either use internal speakers, so if you have like a laptop that has internal speakers, or wired ones. They suggest that you don't use Bluetooth ones, and you are not permitted to have headphones or earbuds for the exam. The remote proctoring is great because it gives you that flexibility of taking it from home, but it does put a lot more personal responsibility on you for making sure that you have the right equipment and the right setup. Please, 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 and I cannot stress this enough, read through all of the emails that the AAPC sends you because they're going to tell you exactly what the requirements are and all of the things that you're going to need or cannot have on your exam day. And whichever method you're going through, remember there is a timer that is in the exam platform. Keep an eye on that because you don't want to get to the end and then have some questions that you leave unanswered. And remember, that timer is not going to stop for any bathroom breaks. So you are permitted to take them, but you're going to have to probably be rechecked in and that timer will not have stopped. But regardless of where you take your exam, there are just some general tips to be successful. Again, make sure you read all of those emails that the AAPC is sending you, even about things like inclement weather, because I had a situation when I took one of my certification exams where it did snow and all of the schools and things were closed. Make sure you have your materials prepared the day before. So if you are bringing books and you're bringing or setting up a bottle of water, or you want to make sure that you have your ID, you want to have that all put together and ready to go so that you're not scrounging at the last minute and going, oh my God, I misplaced my ID, or having any kind of things that might frazzle you on your exam day. And make sure that you're familiar with the exam platform because that's going to speed up your time with the certification exam. If you have a question that you're looking at and you're going, oh, this is going to take me a while, it's really helpful to know how to flag that and how to open up the questions at the end and then go back to it and navigate easily. And trust your preparation. You put in so much hard work and now is the time to show it off. It is a tough exam, but it is worth it because once you get into medical coding, it is a very well-respected and great profession in healthcare to be in. Earning your CPC is a huge accomplishment, but there's more steps beyond that. So if you need help finding a job after you've passed your certification, I have an entire playlist that you can check out. Or if you need more CPC prep, I also have an entire playlist for that as well. I'm here to help you through all the steps of your journey, from deciding on your education to going through it to preparing for certification to finding a job and then answering some of those questions after the fact. So definitely don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all those updates. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.